Good evening, Mr. Aldag. Welcome to the airwaves of Connect FM.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me, and good evening to all of your listeners.
So allow me to begin by asking, according to you, who won the debate in Montreal tonight?
Well, I actually just got home from knocking on doors, and so I haven't even had a chance to watch any of the highlights. Mm-hmm. I did look through my social media feed, and of course I have a bit of a liberal bias, and I've heard very good things about how Justin Trudeau did on the debate. So I'm going to go with Justin Trudeau as my winner.
That's a very honest reply. I was hoping you would say point blank, Justin Trudeau won the debate. Anyways, let's talk about your campaign.
Yes, sorry, about my campaign?
Yeah, so how's it going and what kind of response you've been receiving? And as you mentioned, you started door knocking already. So what kind of safety protocols are being followed?
Right. We are encouraging our volunteers to wear masks. Mm-hmm. When we're outdoors, there is some flexibility in that if we're maintaining social distancing. Anytime that we're in any of the gated communities, high-rise, or like condo buildings, apartments, we're using masks and hand sanitizing before and after we go into buildings. Mm-hmm. The response on the doors has been very positive. Mm-hmm. I think that most of the people we're encountering are very pleased with the supports that in handling of the pandemic that our country has gone through. And there's a sense of hope that we're going to beat the Delta variant and that we will sooner or later get back to some form of normal. And so there's lots of encouragement, lots of support. And we are, as we go through, asking people what their top priorities are. We're getting a good sense of, as we come out of the pandemic, or hopefully this worth the pandemic.
Yeah, Mr. Aldag, sorry to interrupt you here. Your voice is not very clear. Do you mind trying to reconnect once again?
Sure. You know what? I'll call on a different line.
You can call us again at the same number.
Okay. Yeah, I will be right back.
Thanks. ਸੋ ਜੌਨ ਐਲਡਗ ਜੀ ਨਾਲ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ ਪਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਲਾਈਨ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆ ਥੋੜੀ ਕਲੀਅਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਾਫੀ ਡਿਸਟਰਬੈਂਸ ਆ ਰਹੀ ਸੀ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਰਿਕੁਐਸਟ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜੋ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਇੱਕ ਵਾਰੀ ਕਨੈਕਟ ਕਰਨ ਦੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਨ ਅਜੇ ਤੱਕ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਹੋਈ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਮਜ਼ਾਹੀਆ ਤੌਰ ਤੇ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਅੱਜ ਡਿਬੇਟ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ ਫ੍ਰੈਂਚ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਵਾਲੀ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਮੁਤਾਬਕ ਕੌਣ ਜਿੱਤਿਆ ਤੇ ਐਕਸਪੈਕਟੇਸ਼ਨ ਤਾਂ ਇਹੀ ਸੀ ਵੀ ਕਹਿਣਗੇ ਸਿੱਧਾ ਹੀ ਕਿ ਜਸਟਿਨ ਟਰੂਡੋ ਜਿੱਤੇ ਨੇ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਲੀਡਰ ਨੇ ਪਰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੀ ਵਾਸ ਵੈਰੀ ਓਨੈਸਟ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਜੇ ਓਨੈਸਟਲੀ ਵੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਮੈਂ ਡੋਰ ਨੌਕਿੰਗ ਕਰਕੇ ਜੇ ਘਰ ਪਹੁੰਚਿਆ ਹੀ ਹਾਂ ਵਾਪਸ ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਡਿਬੇਟ ਦੇਖੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਪਰ ਸੋਸ਼ਲ ਮੀਡੀਆ ਤੇ ਥੋੜਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਫੋਲੋ ਕੀਤਾ ਤੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਮੁਤਾਬਕ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਵੀ ਮੇਰਾ ਬਾਇਸ ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਆਪਣੇ ਲੀਡਰ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਆ ਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਕਨੈਕਟ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਨੇ ਤੇ ਬਾਕੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਹੋਈ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਾਂਗਾ ਪਰ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਗੱਲਬਾਤ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਜਾਰੀ ਰੱਖਦੇ ਹਾਂ Yes, Mr. Aldag. So we were talking about the kind of response you've been getting.
Yes, and I was saying that we're getting a very positive response on the doors. Mm-hmm. Many people have said that they have had to access the government's programs for either themselves as employees or as businesses during the pandemic. And people, I think, are very hopeful as we start getting back to what is hopefully normal as more people get vaccinated, as businesses reopen, as employees get back to work. Mm-hmm. We are hearing that the top issue on the doorsteps remains affordability. Mm-hmm. In Cloverdale, Langley City, we are the second youngest riding in British Columbia, mm-hmm. so lots of young families. And then lots of seniors who are trying to find affordable homes for retirement. Mm-hmm. And so the idea of affordable homes, of secure jobs, and things like childcare, and that's where our $10 a day childcare program are being very well received on the doorsteps.
Right. You talk about affordability. Are you excited about the Skytrain expansion, and are you concerned that it may actually result in higher real estate prices in Langley?
I am very excited about it. I think that it is going to lead to the whole transformation of the Fraser Highway corridor from King George Station to the terminus of the new line, to the 20 kilometers of line to Langley City. I've spoken with the mayor and councillors in Langley City. They see this as a new future on their community, on our community. There is going to be development, new types of residences, and so I think it'll actually help with the affordability. There will be some areas, some homes that are there now, maybe single-family homes that will see an increase in property value, but there may be some redevelopment that will allow more units, multifamily units, townhouses and condos in some of those areas, and even some 8 or 10-story buildings that will give a greater mix of housing options in Langley City and perhaps through the Clayton area in Surrey, and so and even through Fleetwood. And so I think that it's about having this a greater mix that will help with the pressure that our young families are feeling on housing in this area.
Mr. Aldag, why do you think you were not able to retain your seat in 2019, and what's going to be different this time?
Right. There was, it was a really rainy day, if people remember, and we had about 7,000 people who stayed home on Election Day. I know I was outdoor knocking, asking people to go and vote, and many people said, "Oh, John, you have this, you've got it under control. I don't want to get the kids dressed and out to the polling stations. I don't want to have to get my umbrella out. You're fine." So voter mobilization is going to be huge for us this time. I'm hearing that there is a level of support for the work that I did. I was very active in the community, very supportive, and there have been concerns raised about the current representative, and so there's a contrast between how I conducted myself in office compared to how she has. I think that is really compelling people to get out and support me at the ballots this time. So higher voter turnout is definitely going to be a part of it. We're also making sure that people know, clearly the great platform that our party unveiled yesterday that will help Canada recover from the pandemic and help our economy in Canada really get going again, creating economic wealth for our citizens. And I just think it's a great plan for Cloverdale Langley City.
Talking about your party's platform, gang violence is a big problem in the Lower Mainland, and your party has delegated the responsibility of imposing the gun ban on municipalities. And opposition says it's not a very good example of leading from the front. What do you have to say about it?
Right. Well, I think that the key part of it is the ban on handguns. We'll have municipal discretion and or involvement, and so. That being said, our party will still be looking at how we make our community safer. I hear often we are living next to the largest arsenal of weapons on the planet. The Americans love their weapons, and we know that there are guns that continue to come across the border. We're going to have to invest in greater resources at the Canadian Border Services Agency for inspecting without slowing down the flow of goods back and forth, because there's billions of dollars of goods that cross the border on a daily and weekly basis. We also need to look at ports and how we can look at both drugs and guns that come in through the ports. And so even though the municipalities will have some say about if guns are going to be outright banned, there are other restrictions that we already have. So if a community decides to allow handguns, they still will have to be stored properly. They can only be transported between home and a shooting range and then back again. And so some of those federal oversights and restrictions will remain in place. And I think that is good news for the safety of our communities.
And Langley Cloverdale is being widely branded by the media as a swing riding. How confident are you about your chances this time?
I'm very confident. As I said, the conversations on the doorsteps have been extremely encouraging. We have lots of good ideas that we will be able to implement if we're reelected. As I say, I have my record to stand on 4 years of strong service, bringing investments to the community. I worked very hard on Skytrain, and that has now been delivered, and it's now to look to the next level of investment and advocacy for Cloverdale Langley City. And as I say, the Conservative candidate focused very much on a social conservative agenda and making sure that her needs were imposed on the community. And I think that has caused great concern. We saw attacks on different elements of the community, and people are just really concerned about that. So I have people saying that they're going to come out and support me. They're not staying home, even if it's raining, and I'm confident that we can win it back.
Justin Trudeau likes to say that Canada has a feminist foreign policy. Can you explain what it actually means? What's meant by feminist foreign policy?
Yeah, from my perspective, it's looking at the decisions we make in our foreign policy and how it will affect women. In many developing nations, often women are the ones left at home raising children, not having opportunities for work and their own financial security or contribution to the household. It's about making sure that women are able to control their own reproductive rights and decisions as opposed to having no choices. It's about making sure that women who are often marginalized may not have access to medical care or even vaccines. Those are the types of issues we want. We know that in society, if women are participating, if they're active members in the economy, and that it makes the world a better place. It helps with the better outcomes for the raising of their children. And so as we're making the investments and supports internationally, we want to make sure that we look at how these decisions will impact women, either negatively or positively. And if it's negatively, then how do we change it so that our actions will have a positive income on women and on children across the globe.
Mr. Aldag, I actually live in your riding. Let's have your final pitch. You have 30 seconds.
Okay, well, as I said, I worked very hard for 4 years. I have a great platform with the Liberal Party. I am a very progressive and inclusive leader who believes that we have to deal with issues of racism and hatred. We have to get our economy going. We need to have strong businesses. Small businesses are key. And so on September 20th, please vote John Aldag, yourself included.
And let's hope it doesn't rain on 20th. All the very best.
Thanks very much. Appreciate your call, and have a good night to all of your listeners.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Bye.